Here first and pass it back. Why are you wearing a hat in the room?
Why am I wearing a hat? That's a very good question. Someone has an answer for that? Apart than the fact that I'm getting bald? Huh? It's a what?
Trademark.
Trademark, exactly. It's a more complicated story. I bought this hat, I've always loved hats. And I bought this when I was studying in Berkeley in California. And I always thought, like, what the fuck? Here people can actually wear whatever they want and no one looks at them. You know, you go through Berkeley and you can see weird people wearing all kind of shit. And I said, like, I want to be like that. You know, every time I go to Spain and I try to put a hat, like, everyone looks crazy at me. So I said, like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna wear it every time. And now I'm a slave to the hat, because if I don't wear the hat, people will stop me and they go like, what the fuck is your hat? People actually do not recognize me without the hat. I had someone recently in a conference saying like, hey dude, I was in your talk and you weren't there. I'm like, yes, I was moderating the panel. So like, no, that was a guy with a hat. And I went like, he's like, oh my god, it was you. Yeah, it was me. Okay, so that's the story with the hat. But definitely the hat is a trademark. It makes me stand out from everyone else. Which is very cool, because now everyone will remember the crazy Spaniard with a hat. That's how all my peers actually introduced me. Oh yeah, Alex, the crazy guy with a hat. So it's a good trademark. I'm different. I stand out. I grasp your attention.
Thanks for your story. It's really amazing. And the question is about the headlines of the emails. Which are the catchy ones? What would you recommend? If I write the email for you, you will first see the headline. What should it be?
Well, to be honest, I don't look that much at like the headlines of the emails, because in the end, when you get as much email as I get, people write so many fucked up email headlines that I cannot discard them anymore. Because maybe I discard one that's important and it's from Robin or it's from someone else that's important. So it's like, shit, I have to read all of them. But if I open an email and I see like 3 pages of email, I'm gonna go like, this will wait for afterwards. And those are the kind of emails that I'm gonna answer 3 weeks later. Now if I open an email and I see 2 phrases, that's the kind of email I'm gonna answer immediately. Because it doesn't feel like it's going to take me a long time, so I can actually answer immediately.
Alex, have you heard any good story recently?
Any good?
Story recently.
Recently, I keep hearing all kind of interesting stories recently. For example, one from Robin. He nearly got deported at the airport. You know, he's a very smart guy, and he went to the airport, and he said, I'm checking into Ukraine. And they said like, okay, sir, can you give us ID? He showed his ID, and they went like, no, you know, in Ukraine you need a passport. And it's like, interesting. So he actually had to ask his brother to get his car from the airport, drive to his place, take his passport from there, drive
advise some tips. Oh, you advised it already. Okay, it's hard to put a question. Sorry.
You see, first you think about the question.
Yeah. Do you think that any IT guy can write a pitch or not? And what the kind of IT guy can write a pitch? Because it's quite hard to combine IT and pitch.
Well, I'm one of those rare cases, if you want to look at one. I'm a computer engineer specialized in artificial intelligence and neuroscience. So, you know, I think it's hard. I actually started my career by being a hacker, so I used to be in the computer security industry. So I think it's hard to be more techy than that. I was coding in assembly, I was coding on embedded systems, I was doing exploits. You know, it doesn't get more tangled than that. Truth is, with time, I realized that the things I was telling and the way I was explaining stuff, they weren't reaching. I could see on people's faces that what I was trying to communicate wasn't really reaching them. So I started shifting this, I started changing, I started learning what kind of things, how can I explain this in a different way. I think that the best teacher I ever had was my dad. He kept calling me on the phone saying like, oh my god, this stupid machine did this and did that, and I had to explain to him. And I remember the first calls were things like, okay, so what is the hexadecimal code that you're seeing? What is the DLL that crashed the blah, blah, blah. And with time I realized that what he was really asking me was, hey Alex, I'm going to lose the document I've been working on for the past 2 hours. So after that he said like, oh, I have a blue screen of death, and I would say like, don't worry Dad, your document is still there. And he was like so happy. He said like, oh my God, thank you very much. And he just hung up. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I just realized how different you can pitch this. Everyone can become like that. I would advise you to start cultivating the powers of observation. The best way to do this is to actually pitch whatever you're going to pitch to someone, pitch it to a female, and especially someone that is not in the tech industry. I say female because we guys are kind of stupid. You pitch something to a dude and we go like, oh my God, that's awesome. If you pitch it to your partner, to your wife, or to your girlfriend, she'll go like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How many beers have you been drinking? If she tells you that, trust her, she knows what she's talking about. And I'm not kidding about this. Females have a much sensitive feeling about stuff, and specifically about stupid ideas. So trust them when they tell you this is a stupid idea, trust them because they're right. But do this exercise. Pitch it to someone, a female, women that are not in the tech environment. If they don't get it, you're failing as someone. Ask them to actually repeat the pitch to you. What did you actually get from that? And you'll see how different it looks like. And you'll go like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. When you get engaged into that kind of thing, your pitch was failing somewhere. So this is a really easy exercise to do actually at home.
I have a question. I have 2 questions. The first, I'm curious, what is your job if editing is your hobby? And the second one, actually, I work as a PR manager at Mobiscope, and I know that journalists don't really like PR managers. So I'm thinking of rephrasing my specialty in LinkedIn and in emails when I represent myself. So how would you recommend to rephrase that it would sound more likable for journalists to get emails from me?
So this is a very interesting question. So how do I earn my money? I have a company, it's called Press42, and we started with a product. The market kind of whacked us, so instead of going against the market, I decided to go in the same direction as the market. So what I was getting is a lot of people loved my presentations, a lot of people loved the stories I told. So I started getting people asking me like, oh, can you help us do the same kind of stories? So I ended up focusing the company on what we call organizational storytelling, which is the use of storytelling as a business tool. So big companies and small companies hire me to teach them how to use story within their organization. So we work from very tiny companies, from like startups where we do pitching, all the way to big companies like Coca-Cola, where they use these tools internally to communicate and to actually understand each other in big corporations, which is the biggest issue. So that's where I make my money, and that's why I'm very passionate about story. And the second question was about how do you pitch this if you're refocusing your career. I would say I'm sick of all the kind of marketing stunts. Like every time someone comes to me, you go like, yeah, I'm a community manager. I've done a PhD in community management. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, okay? This is about human beings. This is about understanding human behavior. The best tool you can ever have to work in story crafting and communications is powers of observation and learning human behavior. It's essential. And for me, someone that, for example, knows human psychology is someone that I would hire on the spot. Because it's the kind of person that I know I can trust to write the good thing. Remember, it's not about the technology. People keep focusing on, oh, I'm an expert on LinkedIn, I'm an expert on Twitter, I'm an expert on Facebook. I don't care about that. People shouldn't care about that. Actually, you should be positioned as, in my case, I say, I tell stories. That's what I do. I'm good at telling stories. I'm good at communicating. I don't care if it's on an email. I don't care if it's on a blog. I don't care if it's on the stage. Yeah, I'm definitely better at one or the other one, but that's not the point. The point is, I communicate. That's what I do. That's my expertise. So don't focus too much on one specific tool. Get better at understanding stuff. The best way to actually pitch this is showing. Don't tell me, show me. So start writing about this. Start writing a blog about showing your expertise on human behavior, on how people react to communication, on how people react to the kind of things you write. Start getting feedback, start getting comments, and show that as a proof. You know what? I can use all this stuff. You just go to my blog and this is me. This is what I do. Hope that was helpful. Okay guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.